What's up guys, and welcome to my channel Flame of 4. In this building Beast Bendy Endo frame, we're going to show you how to do this step by step and how to get it ready for when you are going to build it up with clay. So this is just an endoskeleton frame. So you will need some round wood. This is just like round building wood. You can get it from any model place. Some polystyrene balls. The polystyrene balls we got from the range. Also the garden wire came from the range as well. I will go through pricing in a moment. There you go. So you get that whole piece there. From the range, and then we have this. So this is the Das clay. So there's a lot of it. This is $14.99 from the range again, and you get 5 of the clays in there. So you do get quite a lot. So you can empty it into the bucket to keep it in there safe. I do have various balsa woods here. They're just sort of for structural purposes, but we will run through that once we start to do the build and showing you what we need. So these are just a couple of feet that we had left over from a couple of chairs. These were just a few washers, big washers that I had in the garage, and yeah, that's about it really. You will need to use a glue gun, which I'll show in a moment. As you can see, this piece at the bottom was a piece left over from when we did the FNAF stage, and we will need to cut the wire with various things. I've got some tin snips here, probably a bit too brutal for what we need. You can just do it with a pair of pliers and a screwdriver, because we're going to be using a few screws to hold a few things down just in place while we build the frame up. So there you go, there is the trusty glue gun. We do change the glue gun all the way halfway through because I run out of the small glue gun slots, so we have to use the bigger ones in the end. Right, so the first thing you need to do is make this leg piece. This leg piece, or I say it's a leg piece, it's more like the hands. So the big hands, sorry, that are sort of like he's standing on, will need quite a bit of structure, because once we've put these in clay, they are going to take up a lot of weight, and we want something that's going to hold all the clay that we're going to be building up. You want to make sure that you coil the wire around. So you just start with a straight piece, coil the wire around so that it fits inside the white foot. You don't have to do this. You can just coil the wire around and then just glue it down, tape it down onto the piece of balsa wood, or you can just do it. You can do it structurally, so you don't have to put it onto the wood. But you know, if you don't do that and have a frame, then it's going to kind of move, and if it moves too much, then the clay is going to split. Right. So what we want to do next is feed this large washer down through here. So there you go. So then it goes on top of the coiled wire, and with that will hold that into place. Once you're happy with it, and you know that all the wire fits in there, then you can just sort of position it onto the wood. You want to kind of leave a nice enough gap, because this is going to make up the base of his hand, and then we will do his claws and his fingers and stuff like that a bit later on. Right, so once you're happy with the positioning, make sure you tape it down into place. When you are extremely happy with where it's going to go, all you need to do is please get adult supervision for this, guys, because some of this stuff is not really suitable for just using for children themselves. You need to put a screw in to position there to hold it onto the wood. But please make sure that if you're doing this, do not screw it into a wooden table. I didn't screw it into the wooden table, as you can see. But you know, if you get a screw that's too long, you will do that. But once you're happy with the positioning, you want to just add some of the glue. So this is just a glue gun glue. We are going to speed a few things up, and I'll show you a close-up view of what you want it to look like. So just building it up like this, you can keep it all into position, and you know, it will just give it a nice sturdy frame. So once you've done one, you just need to repeat it on the other side, and then you want to kind of look how we've positioned the legs to how we're going to do it. This wire that you can get, this garden wire, is really bendy, so it's really easy for you to be able to manipulate it to go where you want it to. You need to just cut a few lengths. You can use a standing knife to cut these off. I use the tin snips, to be fair, just because obviously I was too lazy to go and cut it with a saw. You can use a saw to cut it. It's quite easy to cut. It's not very it's very durable to cut. It's very easy to cut, but it's very durable, as in like it moves and it's quite tough. So that is always good. Once you're happy with the positioning on the legs, well, this bottom piece makes up the lower hand. So obviously these are going to be the big hands at the bottom, and then the next sort of bend upwards is going to be the lower arm, which is going to be like the forearm, and then the top bit is going to be where his shoulder is. So it's going to be his top arm and then the big part of his shoulder, because he's got big, obviously broad shoulders in there sticking out, as you can tell on that section there. Right, so here we go. We're getting out the big glue gun. This is just to keep it all into place. So everything you put on, just glue it into place. And then the reason for this is because we don't want it to move. And also, you won't use as much clay up because you won't be having to fill in gaps and stuff like that because it would already be made up with the glue gun. And it'll be nice and easy for it to stick to it when you're coming up to doing that sort of section of it, okay? Right, so the next thing we need to do, guys, we're going to have to do the lower arm. So this is the lower arm of him. Obviously, you're probably thinking, oh my god, these are like so skinny. He isn't skinny. But as I said, this is just the endoskeleton to making up Beast Bendy. Just because, as you can see here, we need to have something to build from. If you're just going to try and make it out of clay, it will just fall down and it will break. I mean, you can do it, but it'll be so heavy. And we want to make it look like his back legs are floating, as it does in the picture in the bottom right-hand corner. Right, so here I just need to use the masking tape. I don't know if I actually mentioned the masking tape, but I'll just run through some pricing as well as we're going along. So the masking tape is a 3M masking tape. You can use just any kind of masking tape that you find, but use the 3M stuff because it's really sticky and it holds it into place. The wood, the balsa wood, it wasn't that expensive. If you can find some craft modelling places, we got a couple in. We got one in Ipswich, there's one in Tiptree. We also, they don't do the balsa wood in the range of B&M and stuff like that, so that is a bit of a nightmare. Right, let's just quickly move on to this. So these polystyrene balls were just $2.99. You get a whole bag of them in the range, so they are really good to use for frames, and you can do a lot of stuff with them. So once you're happy with your arms and where they're going to be going and where they're going to stay for the duration of this, then you just want to just poke the tops of those into position. We will move these about as we go along, but you will see that just because, you know, as you go, you have to change the frame up just because you want to have it how you want to have it. And I will add another polystyrene ball onto this right now. I'm just kind of just doing it as a demonstration to show you, but we will be using a smaller piece because if you can see in the bottom picture, obviously we are referencing off a picture that's a lot clearer and a lot bigger, that, you know, you will want the base to be smaller because he kind of got a triangular figure. So he's quite broad at the top and then he goes down into a triangular figure and he's got kind of like a small bum before he has his legs dangling off there. So this is too big. He looks like the snowman at the moment. You know, he's not meant to look like a snowman, so that's why we will change up his bottom piece so that he doesn't look like Olaf got eaten by Bendy. We want it so that it was obviously, so that this is Beast Bendy. We are trying to do the scary Beast Bendy. Right, now we've got Jake back to help us with these other pieces. So, as you can see here, we have gone and done the top forearm. So this is kind of like the other bit of his arm where it goes up to his big shoulder blade. So he looks a bit like Lady Gaga with the old shoulder pads on. Could be Rita Ora as well, because Rita Ora does tend to wear nice big shoulder pads. And as you can see here, we're just using that tape just to keep everything into place. And then the glue gun will keep everything really nice and strong. You don't have to be neat with this because, like I said, you will not going to see a lot of this. But if you get a good frame and a good structure, the same thing as I say when we do painting. You know, if you have the painting side where you do the preparation first, then the paint will come out lovely. The same goes for doing it with the clay. If you have a good frame to build off, then you have a good structure to make something good. And this is what you want to have. Right, I'm just going to show you a little detail of how I just sort of go and glue it all. So we'll fast forward through this, as you can see there. But it's just kind of how you want it. It just looks like a kind of a bendy, scary kind of creature, and that is how we want. I know that the base of the body looks really big, and as you can see here, we went back down and did the small bum. But you want to just put glue around every gap you can, because the stronger it is, it's going to be better. Right, so as you can see in the picture there, you can obviously go get that picture from Google, which we did, and use it as a reference. You just need to get a couple of pieces of wire, cut them to the same length, and then once you've done that, you just need to bend it in half. Once you've bent it in half, you can kind of manipulate it to do what you want it to do. I left the base piece where the foot is because the foot kind of just dangles there, and then you just want to kind of give it a little kink there, and then go up about, say about an inch, and then give it another kink. And once you're happy with the positioning, then you need to use the tape to hold it into place. But when you use the tape, use it as a guide. So say like I want that much of the foot to go into the Beast Bendy, then you want to mask off that much, and then you know to push it in that far. You don't want to push it in too far, because you want to have the feet dangling as much as you can. But if you have a rough guide on how you want to do it, then you'll be able to be a bit more successful in how you're building this up. And then all you have to do, because they're polystyrene balls, is you just have to push them into position where you want them. It's quite easy to do, as you can see there. You just push them in, and then once you're happy, you can cross them over as you do. As you can see, they are in the thing. But we're going to have them apart, because having them together and crossed over is going to be a little bit more difficult for us to build the legs up and to put them in, because, you know, we want to be able to paint this up once we're finished. Right, as you can see on the picture, there are some spikes on his back. We need to put that on, and we have made it out of just some thin, it's probably about 5 to 8 mil balsa wood, and you know, it's easy to cut. You can cut it out with scissors. I would probably recommend using a knife, or sort of a Stanley knife or crafting knife or something, and it's so easy to do stuff. So because these spikes are coming out of his back and they don't have a flat surface, we're just cutting the section of his back out there, as you can see, just so we can put that into place. And that's a nice strong structure again to be able to make the spikes up on his back, and we'll just glue that into place using the glue gun. But if you've got a nice strong structure, then you've already got, you know, you're halfway there. I know this is done in some 2D things, you know, that it's kind of done so that it's done in 2D and we want it to be in 3D because the spikes are kind of rounded, but it doesn't matter because you can make up a 3D object from a 2D object just by doing that, so as long as you can. Right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to just run through how easy it is to cut balsa wood. If you go get crafting wood or balsa wood from your local, you know, crafting centre, then it is so easy to cut. You can cut it with scissors. I don't recommend probably cutting it with scissors. As I said, we were just in a rush to get the frame done because the main thing of this is to do it in clay. But I wanted to show you how to make this structure itself. Right, so we're moving on to the face because we're quite happy with how the body is. We can make the rest up out of clay. Jake's just done a little bit of a demonstration there, how he's done his. So he cut his out using the scissors with my supervision. And I'm just going to show you how to cut it out if you want to do it neatly, if you want to just do it so that it's not got too much edge on it, because his mouth will be made up with loads of teeth, but we will add those in later on with cocktail sticks to make him really scary and to make it so that he looks like his teeth are, you know, protruding and ready to kill somebody, really. So that looks a bit more like Pac-Man at the moment, but once we're finished, we will show you that he is going to look as scary as he can be. Right, so we just went ahead and cut out a little bit more on that polystyrene ball, and we had to make up a horn. I mean, I haven't used anything for reference on these horns. I've kind of just guessed how to do them and made them up. And if you want a template of this, it's not a problem. We could send you one over if you're going to decide to do this yourself. But all you need to do is kind of work out roughly how they go. I know, again, it is a 2D horn, and his horns are 3D, but you can make up a 3D horn using the 2D one because you just got the centerpiece to use as a structure, and then you'll be able to do it quite easily. Once you're happy with where the horn goes, you just need to cut a tiny bit of the garden wire, and once you've done that, then you will be able to push it into the polystyrene ball. Like so, there you go. So once you're happy with the positioning, again, you will just need to go take your trusty glue, because you know these glue stick things are really good. Mine kind of wastes it a lot because it kind of just spills out all over the table, and I just use it when I can. But if you see here, you just want to put it into position. Putting it in with a bit of glue around the edge, it will just hold it and make it nice and easy to work on. And then you just need to repeat the other side. So just, as you've seen, we made one, we made sure it fit. We did a template of the second one. Once the template was done, then we made the second one of it, and then we put it onto the other side so that he is like, you know, like he is now with the big horns. So we are going to put the head on. We aren't going to keep the head on because we are going to build that separate to the body, and I will show you in the next video what we're going to be doing with that. So once you're happy with the positioning and you've got it in place, just think of how it is on the image. I know his head's quite square and quite triangular, but like I said, we can cut sections of this round ball out because it's going to be easier to do now, and then we can make it how we want to make it, so we can make it triangular and stuff like that and add things on using clay. Right, so there you go, guys. That is really it. That's how you make the Endo frame for Beast Bendy. I'm going to get Jake to give it a little twirl to show you because we you know, we built this together. This is for Jake. This is Jake's project that he wanted to do, so he asked to do it, and yeah, we did it, and we're glad to be able to share this with you. Guys, if you really like this video and you got any questions on what we did or what we used and how we did it, please don't hesitate to ask in the comment section below, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.